Right.
There's that. And then
Same thing.
there's like, is it like really bad there? Or it's too here.
There's no stop. Like, it's like, trying to find the street.
Okay, at this time, we're gonna call the work session of the October 3rd regular meeting to order. Fairly standard agenda, not too many things on here. We can start, if councilors have any questions on items presented for consideration, we can go through those, otherwise we can turn it to some department head reports. The reports were provided to council ahead of meeting. So maybe a little delayed, but council should have received those reports for consideration.
I do have a question on 7.198.
Yes.
Let me go to those supporting documents, because I did read this and. So is the adjustment that we're looking at? Oh, here we go. All right, guys. So if I'm reading this adjustment correctly, I can see that we have some projects that have been revised in cost, but then it looks like rubber tired hydraulic excavator added in.
Yep.
Okay, so. What's the longevity usually on a piece of machinery like that?
Well, it depends on how frequently you use it, but the piece of equipment we're replacing is 16 years old. Roughly 6,000 hours. You're probably hour-wise a little over half a normal service life. The probably should have been flipped 5 years ago for trade value wise. So, but what we did, obviously, that's why we adjusted these numbers. So you'll look at the road resurfacing. We sat down with Richard, we outperformed drastically on all the streets. You're gonna ask, well, why were the estimates high? Well, we drilled down on it. A couple things happened. Number one, for whatever reason, the cost of asphalt this year remained real steady. So I saw zero escalation based on what we had estimated for. So we get a county contract price for asphalt at $60 a ton. Typically, we'll throw $3 to $5 a ton escalation as it goes on, because the cost of asphalt emulsion goes up, the county can raise that price. So we outperformed on that. We outperformed on the actual installation. North Catherine Street, we hit it out of the park. That was a 3-day job. We did it in 7 hours. And that was the actual paving portion of it. The other thing we did real well with shared services. Our friends at the town of Peru, Black Brook, I'll say, well, those guys are, to a fault, they help us out with loading us trucks and helping with hauling. Town of Plattsburgh helps too. So we did well there. So all those jobs outperformed for those reasons. What that left us with was a surplus. Now you're gonna ask, well, why didn't we get some extra roads? Well, like we've talked about in previous meetings, this year has been particularly hard. The state, if you guys have ridden the Northway, we had south of Keysville, they put down over 60,000 ton of asphalt on the flight line. At the base, they did 40,000 ton. And that balled up the plants, both Upstone, or it's not Upstone, it's Upstone now, and then the Jointa plant. The county got behind and the towns did too. So we, again, coupled with, just our timetable. As Ruber Street stayed open for quite a while, you had to complain about, we got the catch basins ready to go. We had those rain events, we had marbles, that went way longer than it should have, waiting for asphalt. We actually had to push that project off. I want to say it was 2 weeks from what we were talking about. So that's why we didn't do it. So what we have is we have a surplus of money in there. This piece of equipment that we're asking for or to purchase or adjust is it's scheduled for 26, 27. So opportunity now to take care of it. The equipment is available. So it's not like a fire engine where I have to wait 4 years. Usually this is a good time of year to go looking for equipment. It's on the floor and ready to go.
So So is that purchase going to be covered then by the chips and touring routes?
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Andrew, actually, Andrew's gonna hand you
Did
something.
you get the from our budget session? I think everybody else.
No, I wasn't here.
That's the document you write
breakdown
down
Oh.
of the chip funding. We went over it during our.
Thank you.
So I can kind of briefly go over it again, but. So basically the first, if you look at the first page, at the top of the first page, the first block there is really, what we did for reimbursement at our for our last reimbursement in August. So at that time, we had roughly 2.8, probably close to $3 million remaining. And that's when we decided that our next reimbursement, we were gonna do the additional 900,000 for the Margaret Street reimbursement. So if you look at the bottom half of the page, that next block takes out the Ruger Street paving that we did, the Margaret Street construction, 900,000, and then the rubber hired excavator.
Thank you. I'm so sorry to get that. Thank you.
So we've already included the rubber hire excavator in the CHIPS reimbursement. So you're looking at year-end numbers of almost $1.5 million worth of CHIPS funding that will roll over going into 2025.
Okay.
If you flip the page, based off of numbers over the last couple of years, we have our anticipated appropriations at the top of the page, which would be coupled with our $1.5 million in rollover money. We are anticipating just over $5 million with the CHIPS funding going into about April of next year. And then I went ahead and put together our anticipated CHIPS funding projects for 2025. And after those are all reimbursed, in theory, we would have almost $4.3 million that would roll over going into 2026.
So I'm gonna ask you, since I'm seeing this. I thought that the plan for Beacon Street was a full depth reconstruction.
So it was. So the problem we have with Beacon Street, there's a couple of things. We have a very high ledge condition there. So the ledge
That's what I thought.
is right there. DEC requires that we have to do something with stormwater. So when you disturb more than an acre of property, you have to do stormwater treatment and stormwater containment. Because of the ledge condition and because we don't have anything other than combined sewer there, we have nothing to do with the stormwater. So we really can't do a full depth of reconstruction there. So what we're anticipating to do is next year is to do a mill and resurface the roadway. Because we're not gonna do, if we do full depth reconstruction, then we have to do something with stormwater. And we don't have that capability without putting in some kind of a main trunk line down through the city to take care of that stormwater.
Yeah, we don't currently have the infrastructure to convey it down to the river.
So right now, we'll just have to mill it and resurface it until a future project comes along that would, basically a main trunk line that went down that section of the city to convey stormwater out to the river and to the lake.
So the ledge that is, I know it's kind of, I think I saw those big boulders that got dragged out of the ground when they were started working on the Violet's home.
Yep.
So is that part of what is interfering with the ability to do it the way you're saying?
Yeah, so
Yes, okay.
typically there's certain ways you can do it, much like what we did on Margaret Street, you can put infiltration trenches in. You can't put an infiltration trench there because the water has nowhere to percolate to because it's all ledge. Ledge just holds water. So a lot of the typical things that you would do, we can't do up there because of the ledge conditions. So the only option we have is to convey the stormwater off-site. And right now we have nowhere to convey it to.
A great, something that everyone sees is a leaky pond at the hospital. With leaky pond, multiple people have tried multiple years to fix that and stop it, but really what's the instigating that is the high ledge condition. It just seeks that level and then pushes its way between the curb and the asphalt. So when you see water running across the street, it's because it just has no place to go.
Okay.
So for the traffic study for Cumberland Avenue, it's a $32,000 Contract amount, where does that come from? Is that from? How does that work?
That's Alicia, that's the senior planner's item. It'll either come out of general fund spending or we'll find a contract service account.
What is that, contract service account?
Yeah, out of maybe out of CDO, depends, yeah. And that does include the traffic study for Cumberland Ave as well as the intersection in front of GP.
So what prompted the traffic study?
I know,
Oh,
Go ahead.
last year, it was brought to the public safety's attention by Caitlin Bach. Because a few of her constituents at the time let her know the very severe unsafety. It's a double negative. The rotten safety hazards, with people crossing and everything.
It's I think the only, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's the only street in Plattsburgh that leads from the north all the way to downtown with no stop signs. Or any way to slow traffic other than curves.
They tried it down at the Elks Club.
I'm sorry, what?
They did try one at the Elks Club at one time. It wasn't very successful. I want to say it was there, it was less than half a year. I know a lot of people that skipped through it, myself included, but that was years ago. I mean, that was that had been a couple years ago. I would assume that. Yeah, something about it. I prefer Rich to see over. So, yeah. So well, they tried it out before.
and so are we looking for, the results of that traffic study are gonna come to us next spring? Am I reading that correctly?
Spring 2025.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
Note that 7201, as the revised language in the, resolution notes, after consideration and the scoring downstairs by the, finance team, is determined Community Bank is the, preferred, vendor for, banking services for the, next 4 years, similar, 5 years, sorry. Same process that we've taken on to identify a local branch or any branch, to be honest. I know that we had some consideration from some downstate folks that were competitive but couldn't provide certain services that we required local. This is the best options for banking services for the city.
Who are we currently banking with?
We've been with them for a few years now, hasn't
What is Community Bank gonna offer us that NBT Bank cannot, Richard?
Better interest rate for one.
Anything else other than better interest earnings?
When you look at all the services we think they're pretty much high then as far as, real-time banking services, we think they're both very competitive with that. TD Bank would be the best, because they're the largest bank, but their service would be the out of this world, and it's like they're charging with $15 million pocket savings balance, which is totally ridiculous. But they would have the best services, unfortunately, they're way low on the interest rate, so that's why their rate is lower than most of them. That's. So NBT, yeah, they're competitive, but community bank, better earnings, interest on surplus loans.
Okay.
If you look at that analysis we provided, all you have to do is look at the top 3 lines. Because that just summarizes everything all below about the entire questionnaire of the RFP. And it considers the earnings versus the services.
Okay. I have some questions that pertain to, they don't pertain to the resolutions, or they deal more with capital projects. And I don't see Janelle here. Is Janelle coming or?
The capital project specific to,
Well, I just,
what?
I've heard that Ryan Davies has left the Clinton County Health Department. Is that true?
Yes.
Yes. So I wondered, and I don't know if we have the appropriate manager to be able to answer this question. I wondered who the city would be going to then because of the stipulation agreement. So I know Ryan Davies was really highly involved in that. And I wasn't sure who's going to be his replacement. So between the management of the water plant and as it pertains to the stipulation agreement with Ryan Davies not there.
I believe in the short term, the gentleman by the name of Tim Simonette. I know we're working with him on lead service on the we will be reaching out to him probably tomorrow or early next week. Because that's due. We can probably inquire from him at that time about who's taking over Ryan's fees. The short term, Tim's not a licensed professional engineer, that I'm aware. So the county, I'm sure they're gonna hire somebody.
So when we roll into 2025, we're gonna have capital projects for water treatment, capital projects for sewer treatment, and then of course we have capital projects, for construction projects. Do we know how much the total of those capital projects will be going into 2025 when we talk about the water infrastructure upgrades, the sewer upgrades, and the actual capital projects themselves? So like the construction projects, full depth reconstruction, all those other things. Do we know what kind of total we're looking at?
The capital plan is showing, so the proposed capital plan shows that dollar amount. We don't have that document with us today.
Oh, okay.
So if you go to the mayor, the proposed budget, there's a proposed capital plan. Did you post that area?
not the capital program yet.
That has,
yeah.
we are proposing. That includes Andrew tabulating all that, that will give you the total amount for us.
And that'll give you all water, all sewer projects.
Yeah, it's projects across all funds.
Okay, across all funds.
Are we getting,
What's outlined in this little spreadsheet Andrew gave does show. What's outlined for road service in that particular window, that snapshot in there, but that's all you have to remember. If we do, that should be looking forward to showing what it's saying.
okay. Are we receiving your budget tonight, Mayor?
No, I've answered that question.
Well, I couldn't remember what your answer was.
My answer was every year I deliver it on or before October 8th.
So that's a yes?
No, that's a no.
Well, we don't have a meeting.
It doesn't require a meeting. It's never required a meeting. I've released it without a meeting in the past. And again, as responding to your email and to everybody else, on or before October 8th.
So, will we be receiving, as we have in the past, a breakdown of the salary line? Per
Yes.
department, we'll be
Yes.
getting that as well.
Although not required, I do provide a outline of projected staffing for each department, which then corresponds to the 1,100 lines in those funds.
Courtney, I saw that, you had sent us an updated memo on, a proposal for Fox Hill. I didn't get through the entire email. Would you be willing to summarize what?
Yeah, apologies, I didn't send my departmental report all the time, but I do have.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Easily enough, I actually got to this part.
Yes. Feel like self-conscious right now, that it's not double sided.
Uh-oh. Very heavyweight.
Like 15 cents.
Oh, no.
Not good. So just to jump to that, in the report, what I'd like to do is provide a more in-depth presentation at our next common council meeting.
Okay.
About kind of some paths forward. I wanted to have a discussion with Jim Abdullah, who we've been working with through AEDA, and they've helped extensively with the design, cost estimating of the buildings, and so we met, kind of discussed some paths forward. He's gonna put together something. I'd like to bring that forward, not anything to vote on, but just an update. Also, that's probably gonna be the last meeting before I take my leave, and so I wanted to just make sure that the council was kind of updated on where that project stands and kind of what we could think about doing into next year. But if you have any other thoughts or questions about it that you'd like to see specifically addressed at the next council meeting, feel free to email those to me. That will include a little bit of an analysis, Councilor Manette, of the pods and just looking into that and if that was a viable route now, as well as a couple other solutions too.
Thank you.
Just totally forgot I was gonna ask you. Okay, now I got it. I think it was last year we received a grant for beach improvements and it had, I can't remember exactly what it was for, but it was something, it was either 400,000 or 800,000. It had to do with like the dunes or it was something like that. I can't exactly remember.
It's kind of like halfway down this table, city beach restoration and green infrastructure. Is that the one you're thinking about from DEC?
I think so.
So it's a dune restoration. and
Yes.
Water.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so we just had our consultants create an RFP to do the first phase, which would be to hire on a design firm to actually design what those improvements are gonna look like, so engineering the actual designs for the beach dune restoration and the water runoff from the parking lot. We're trying to mitigate pollutant waters from getting into the lake from the runoff from the parking lot and other areas. And so we have to design that first before we can take it to construction. So our RFP will look to award that. I'm just having DEC review that RFP. It has to make sure that it entails all the MWBE requirements, the bid solicitation requirements. So I don't want to put that out to bid until they've reviewed and accepted that RFP. That's kind of where everything stands with that right now.
Okay. Courtney, or Mayor, either one, is, I'm gonna ask this question. Is your office fully staffed?
Yeah,
You are fully staffed.
Yeah.
Um.
just this week. Our recreation program coordinator started on Monday.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
really?
Yeah,
Did not know
yeah.
that.
Yep, his name's Nicholas Pitowski. 4 days in, doing great. Positive things to
A
report.
rec
His name is
program
Nicholas?
coordinator, is that the official title?
Recreation program coordinator.
So
Yeah.
Nicholas is our new. Right.
What's his salary gonna be?
It is 54 and change. I don't know the exact. I can get that exact number. to
I
you.
don't have, yeah, I don't, I don't have the book. It's in the book.
That's close enough.
Okay, yeah.
Wasn't
54
looking
and
for
change.
an exact. number.
Yeah.
Is there gonna be a stand-in for you while you're gone? It's a lengthy time.
Yeah, there'll be, Mayor and I are working on a leave, plan right now, just to make sure projects and operational things are covered. That a big goal of mine was to have the office fully staffed before I left, so that everybody was able to assume their full role, so. There won't be one person, but things will be divided
Kinda
amongst
divided.
workflows, that makes sense. A lot of people will report directly into the mayor's office, and projects will get coordinated in that way. Or I'll be trying to move projects into a state of closeout or something that can just be held and then pick back up again,
When are you returning?
February, August.
Yeah, you get 12 weeks now, right?
Yeah.
Well, when I had my babies, it was like 6, so that, yeah.
I won't let my Canadian show right now. The amount of leave. My Canadian is coming out. Oh, anyway.
Well, when you're on leave, I'm happy to help them out with whatever,
Thank
the
you.
holiday parade, the trick or treat event,
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm there.
I'll let her know. I've let her know that you're a good volunteer for the trick or treat event too, so.
It's one of the best events of the year.
Thank you. Any questions about the street closures on the agenda? Okay.
The high schools must be happy that they having River Street as it. It's nice.
Yeah, and thank you to SUNY PD who's helping with that and, making that possible for us.
Yeah,
So that's a really helpful partnership.
it's good for them to have. I heard Jacob's gonna be on one of the schools. That's what I know.
Are there books?
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay.
Any questions on the city clerk report? Question department, for a DPW report. Courtney pretty much outlined our community development, anything for environmental? questions on items for consideration for tonight? No business. Not gonna say for the next half an hour, we're gonna adjourn.
I just make a note, I know I put some emails out there to council and I don't haven't got a response. Redistricting, could we have a conversation at the next potential meeting and work session on redistricting? I know we have a proposal out there. I know I have questions. I'm hoping we can get the members to come speak, but hoping to have that conversation in the informal work session. We try to plan for that at our next meeting. Is that okay with
Sure.
everybody?
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
Did
Beth,
you?
can you extend an invitation to the members of the redistricting commission?
I've emailed them and I have not gotten a response. My questions, so hoping that they could come have a conversation.
Just have a formal presentation and, yeah, that would be a good idea.
We'll attempt to summon them,
Yeah. As far as, yeah, I understand.
you know.
Dropping back, I just had one
Yeah.
question on the water and wastewater is. Who's minding the store on that now? I know
Yeah.
when John left, he was heading up both those departments. I think it's Janelle.
Yes.
Is she taking over that role?
Primarily,
basically?
yeah, so Janelle, I will tell you, and I think most of the folks that have been working with Janelle in this transition have nothing but positive things to say in terms of what she has been able to accomplish in that transition. So Janelle is my primary, in this office's primary contact, as well as other departments' primary contact for environmental concerns. Mike Stoutenger, obviously, is overseeing water treatment. He's doing his projects, but those also then get funneled through Janelle. Adam is also here as what is your official title?
Assistant Chief Plan Operator.
Okay, got it, thank you. Assistant Chief Plan Operator for the Water Resource Recovery Facility. So he, in partnership with Janelle, manages this facility, oversees this facility down here. Janelle's primary role is to manage a lot of the projects that have been ongoing. There are certainly some concern, and I think Mike and Andrew can also reflect this concern, as could Courtney and Alicia, that what's really lacking at this point is a more of a technical, hands-on project manager that can take some of these larger capital projects and oversee them and manage them through. Because right now, that's really what Janelle's been doing. That's what a lot of, unfortunately, what falls on Mike and Andrew's plate without a functioning city engineer department. So that's the biggest thing for, in terms of Janelle managing her workload, and Mike and Andrew and Courtney and Adam and Michael Stoutenger managing their workload. So, but yeah, she's been managing it. She's been doing great. Need some more support down there. But yeah.
I was just inquiring to make sure we had reestablished a chain of command for those departments.
No, 100%. Yeah, and just like any transition, and Courtney can tell you, after you transition into a more of a department head or assistant department head role, take some time ramping up, but get there, right? Get there one way or the other, one way or the other. Yeah.
If anybody else doesn't have any questions, I'd make a motion to adjourn.
Motion on the floor. Second by Counselor Avery, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 5:30 PM. Thanks, folks.
Okay.